What's going on, guys? Rockley AC here. I'm giving you guys my second place deck profile from the Naruto CCG 1K Kage event that was hosted on Saturday the 14th down in Portage, Indiana. We held a 1K event, guaranteed $1,000 in cash prizing, and we gave it out to the 21 players that attended the event. Um, and it was basically a whole annual event, a collection of all the Midwest tournaments and events that we've been accumulating throughout the year, and kind of just ending it with one big bang, basically. It was an amazing event. Obviously, there were a lot of players that were missing due to work and stuff, especially on my end from my locals. But for those who did come, they definitely brought it and represented. Fortunately, I wasn't able to beat Jared Garrison, who brought a really nice water wind flashpoint control deck. It was a very unique build, and unfortunately, I couldn't beat him, and I just didn't have the sideboard card that would definitely stop him. But yeah, real quick, in Swiss, we had 5 rounds. I went 3-1-1. So I ended up getting third slot in Swiss. My first round against Adam Petyo. He's been running a Fire Genjutsu, Fire Wind Genjutsu for a while, so that's one of his main decks. And we ended up tying. One he brought up Susanoo, the other one, I pushed for victory, so it ended up as a tie. So second round, I went against one of my teammates, Love. He's won several recent events because he's actually been playing in the past couple months and kind of been attending to our locals probably since February or beginning of the year. So I knew that was going to be a tough matchup. He brought Uchiha Control, which is a very tough matchup, especially with all the control cards that Uchiha gained from set 29. I ended up beating him 2-1 to close that out. Round 3, going into Swiss, I went against Ruben, and surprisingly, I 2-0'd him. That's right, 2-0'd him. I was a little bit more nervous, but at the same time, I felt like it was going to be a good match overall. But he did draw pretty bad in a lot of his in both his games. But again, no mercy. That's basically been what I've had in the first couple months of the tournaments last year when I mulled to him in the finals and top 4 finals. So I'm not going to give him any type of leeway on that. So I beat him 2-0. Round 4, went up against another teammate, which is Zeke. Zeke definitely plays a lot of unique decks, but this time he decided to bring something more serious. He ran a Puppets deck, and again, I just didn't have the sideboard for a lot of put-and-play effects, and I kind of beat myself up for that. He got me 2-0 in that one. And then the last round is another guy from Dylan. He goes to our locals once in a while. He's top forward, I think, last event, something like that. But yeah, Dylan was running a Fire Lightning Rush deck, and we went to game 3, and I beat him in time, and it was another close match. So that was great. Again, going to Swiss, I was 3rd seed, top 8. I ended up playing against Lee Sheehan, which you guys will see in my vlog. Lee is normally like a DBS super player. He has been playing Mill. He rarely plays Naruto. He did a great job highlighting it, even though Mill is kind of an easier deck to play, sort of say. He managed to, I think his record was like 3-1-1 also, or something like that. Get into the top 8, and unfortunately he had to go against me, against my Revitalize deck, so that was rough on him. I easily 2-0'd him in there. Then top 4 was a rematch between me and Matt Demond. Matt, obviously you remember him from last video in Cali. He also did top 4 in California, which he lost to Jason, and I also lost to James the Who Hopkins in top 4 in Cali as well. So me and Matt likes to go back and forth. It was Pain deck. It was a gruesome battle. I took game 1 easily. Game 2, he got me with Pain, Devapath, and game 3, I just managed to push through, and I don't think he really had good draws either, unfortunately. So I got him in game 3, and then finally in the finals, me against Jared. It was a long match. It was probably about 2.5 hours because we went to. There's no time limit, basically in Top Cut, or AKA like finals, which I got to understand. It allows for more flexibility of the game, and critical thinking. Can't just rush the deck and make a deck that's made for time and stuff. But yeah, he was good. I'll talk about my sideboard, which I should have brought. There's usually a sideboard card that I always usually play, but I just didn't think about it this time. The last time I played was in California, so I never had any play testing since, what is that, 2 months that we went. I ran my OTK deck. I didn't run this deck, so this is the deck that I was originally going to run. It might have had a better matchup against Puppets and especially against Mill, Jason's Mill deck. So, this one I was really close to winning, this tournament and that tournament. Maybe had I made some specific changes and stuff. But anyways, this is an Earth, Water, Revitalize deck. Revitalize was something that I played when the game died. It was a very consistent deck. I've topped with it in a couple of the tune-ins that were still alive back then, and it was just something that I felt comfortable with. And then now with the semi-unlimited rogue list, I felt like it was, another consistent deck to play and a very safe deck to play. But yeah, I liked it, and I'm going to talk about some cards and interactions, and we'll go ahead and start off with the clients. I ran 2 Giant Eagle clients. Basically, if an effect discards 2 or more cards from your deck, reveal them and move one of them to your hand. In that case, discard 1 card from your hand. I have a lot of effects that mill myself 2-3 cards, so when I mill those 2 or 3 cards, you trigger Giant Eagle. You put a card from your hand to the discard, and then you could choose one of those cards that you milled and then put it back to your hand. It allows for maximum consistency, being able to mill yourself, cycle through your deck. I mean, that's just the ultimate form of recycling and just going through your cards. 0-drop ninjas. I ran 3 Naruto Control of Power. I like this a lot because your 1-drops are kind of, kind of full, kind of tight for the space. I like this because you don't, compared to the 1-drop super, you're only milling 2 versus I think the 1-drop super mills 3. You don't want to mill so fast because you do have other cards here to help you with that. But for this card, it was great for aggro. Being able to swing for 0, and then if your opponent blocks, he becomes a 3-0, and then next turn he becomes a 6-0 by himself. You're just milling. And then if you're behind another ninja, if you have like a support ninja, say like Hanabi, you're gonna be swinging for 8 on turn 1, and that really forced a lot of your opponents to take early battle words or ninjas to block. So it was a very, very good aggro card. Next, I ran 3 10-10s. She's another filter card. At the start of your turn, you could discard a card, in that case draw. If it wasn't an earth, then you mill 3 and then do your regular draw. So she helps. If I don't have Naruto out, I purposely will mill a non-earth card just to get through. 2 Hotaru. She's water. She's one of the best 0-drops in the game, arguably probably top 3. Don't need to really explain her much. 2 Chojis. This Choji this synergizes well with Revitalize. When a card is moved to the bottom of your deck, this ninja gets +1 during this turn, and this happens at any time. This can happen at your turn or even your opponent's. There are a lot of times where my opponent milled me, or maybe I use a Revitalize card during a trigger, and then when the card is moved to the bottom of the deck, he gets +1 even on my opponent's turn. So that sometimes prevented my opponent from attacking aggressively because Choji would sometimes get pumped up by that card getting moved. But him and Revitalize, another great aggressive card. 1 Kabuto, he's my tech. A lot of people are like, oh, why do you play him? He has 5 mental power, and I'll get to it, but basically there's this jutsu called Interrogation. Fear by Genjutsu is banned in this format. I don't know why Infinite Embrace is, but Interrogation basically says every ninja opposing the user, the target becomes a standby if its mental power is less than the user. Kabuto has 5. Ain't nobody going to be passing Kabuto up. Also with Shikamaru, he has 4 mental power, so this is pretty much like my Fear by Genjutsu if I need to push for battle awards. 1-drops. Andy's Water. 2 Hanabi. I learned my lesson from last time. I think I played Revitalize a couple months ago against Roman. Roman's from Ohio. It was another final match, and down to the wire, I played first Hokage, and I ended up drawing into two Hanabi, and then I had a Hanabi in my hand. So that's pretty much the joke of that day. Was like, you know, at a really crucial moment, I ended up drawing three of her, or having three of her. So I narrowed her down to two. It was a perfect number, I think. Again, she gets your jutsus, and pretty much most of your jutsus are going to be earth. So she helps with that power. One Ino Vanilla. I like her mostly because of the mind transfer target. Again, most ninjas are going to have 2 mental power. If you hit the curve 0-1, you'd have Hanari, Karen, Hinata. Like all those cards will usually have like 2 mental power, so she gets away with it if you're able to mental power mind transfer early. 2 drops, no question. 3 Shikamaru Revitalize. This card is broken in this deck. You just, when you start into battle, you reveal if the bottom is revitalized, you move to hand. Otherwise, you mill the top 3. This helps you, even if it's not revitalized. This helps you mill. So that's why I run the 0-drop Naruto and not the 1-drop Naruto, because then Naruto, the 1-drop super rare, you're milling 3, 6, 9 every turn, and then even Shikamaru, maybe even another 3. That's just way too quick, I think, in my opinion. In terms of the tempo of the game. So you want to be able to make sure you don't mill yourself out and be too aggressive. 1 Shino Revitalize. He's been one of my favorite tech cards of the game. Just being able to look at your opponent's hand and moving a card to the bottom is just so strong. Just like any deck, if you put this in like an aggressive deck, if you want to hit an early Jutsu, I mean, Shino's like right there. Get their negates, get their drops, get their missions, whatever you need to play. Zetsu, MVP card. One of my MVP cards. You just call a ninja. That ninja's text effects negated. Sasuke's, Naruto's, Sakura's, whatever you need to do. He's just really helpful, and he also has ambush, so it helps for him to pay a cost with the mission. 1 Sakura Concentrated Punch. Honestly, she didn't really do a lot for me. The reason why I put her in is because I felt like I needed more aggro. And a lot of my jutsus I wouldn't really be using until maybe like later in the turns, sort of say. So I'd have some chakra to use up, but she really wasn't really needed. I mean, she was just another target for Sheikah's decision. Female, draw. Nothing too crazy. I'd probably take her out. Another MVP was 2 Sasuke OVs. This card was amazing, especially against Ruben. Ruben could tell you it was so dirty. Obviously, Sasuke OV is a chakra killer, but not only that, he's also a resource killer. When you're playing against decks that have like ambush cards that could get out of your chakra area or utilize from your chakra area, he just ruins your opponent's game. One of the games where I just totally sealed it off of Ruben. Ruben had 2 Chidoris, 2 water negates, and then maybe a ambush ninja, like a 4-drop, 5-drop. Maybe it was a Sasuke, maybe it was a Kisame. I just can't forget. I dropped Sasuke. I killed 5 my chakra to kill all of his jutsus, and I just went in for the kill right after that with spontaneous on turn 5. Doing that was just so dirty, and even Ruben was like, "That's a dirty move," and that's one of the reasons why I main deck him, is for stuff like that. Also against like Pain, what's it called? Those decks, all their ninjas have like ambush, so being able to kill that, I definitely did that to Matt before. I just killed my chakra just to kill his ambush ninjas. And yeah, it's just overall a good solid card. Chakra depletion, chakra killing, I think is a little underrated in this meta, and people just would rather run like 12, 14 jutsus just to kind of out jutsu your opponent. But I felt like a little bit of chakra killing is necessary, especially if it's targeted chakra killing like Sasuke. So it's insane. This card was amazing. He was definitely one of my MVPs throughout the tournament. Next are the Yamatos, and then broken CBF. Honestly, there were times that CBF helped, and then he didn't help. I mean, by the time I hit turn 5, I was already sealing the game with Spontaneous, so I didn't really need him as much. Only against certain matchups, like Pain, or just like a lot of like puppet stuff. I mean, he would have helped, but by then it was very close to sealing the game by turn 5. But yeah, this Yamato Revitalize, so good. Mill 5, draw this card. He's stable. And then for my 6 drops, I ran 2 for Hokage. He makes it so that I don't mill out. Makes it so that I get 2 cards back to my hand. Plays a long game. If I can't beat him during that turn, if I somehow dehydration my Yamato or something like that, or comp strength my Yamato or first Hokage, I have to have at least 2 users in order to get that spontaneous off. So he's very good. And then of course, Toby, he's at 1. I don't know why he's at 1. He's good, but also he's just too free in this format. So I don't know. I'd probably vote to ban him again. There's just no card to stop him, and it's just a free. This is a free draw. Onto the missions. 3 student sensei. Gotta have draw power. You don't have never ending love in this format, so you need a nice solid 1 drop mission that could generate chakra. It's very good. Lunchbox, one of my other MVP missions. This card not a lot of people play, but I like it a lot in this deck because you could just pump your early drop ninjas up, and then your opponent just is forced to not have a board. Lunchbox makes it so that when you put this ninja, or when you put this mission in play, you draw a card. Your ninjas get +1/+1. So you have cards like Naruto, and then maybe even like Ino or Shikamaru. I mean, these all get plus. Like, you got the 3 support, you got the 3 support. This could be another 3 ninja. I mean, this team could get bumped up to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 on turn 2. Like, that's just dirty. So it's just not fair. Lunchbox really caught a lot of people off guard, and I would always draw into it. I never needed more than 2, but it was a nice early game pump. 2 Shiga's decisions, limited to 2. I think it's okay at 2, maybe at 1. It's just a very solid draw, very solid searcher. So I'd search for like my Shikamaru or female ninja just to kind of get that extra draw power. Training in the Moonlight definitely helped in a lot of my games. It was against Matt, I think, top 4, and against Matt's Pain deck. I think I got rid of his only ninja that he had another curve for, and he missed like 3 drops, and it was because I picked Pain. I was like, oh, let me get this Devapat Pain out of your hand, and then I actually did. It was just dirty, and I ended up drawing 2 out of that and being at such a big advantage. My other missions, I guess, are just necessary, I think, in this format. I run 2 dehydrations. I run dehydration over comp strength because 1, it's water, and my deck is water earth, and 2, I just think I like that extra draw. When your opponent draws 1 or more cards in effect, draw 1 card. It's just solid, so I like it. 2 self conversations. I'm probably one of the main people who main board mission hate in the top 8, and definitely helped out. Just negates, in Swiss, just negates stuff like Warhawks and their searchers, but this really helped in certain matchups. Alright, on to the Jitsus. I ran 2 partial expansion Jitsus. This is a Mardo card, I think. When I gave him my Revitalize list like many months ago, he suggested this card, and I knew it was always good for like a sideboard card against like Mill, but it's just good as an aggro card overall. I use this card many times. Move X cards from your discard pile to the bottom of your deck in any order, and the user gets +X during this turn. I would use this to kind of just OV ninjas or kind of just kill ninjas, kind of recklessly, like early in the game, so I could get a big advantage. I don't even have to be milled out to use this. Like, you just pay 2 earth, and then you pump your guy like a 5, so he becomes like a 10 versus your opponent's 4-0 or whatever. It just really hurts if you hit this early on and your opponent has to worry about it. Next 2 cards is 2 interrogations. Again, this acts like a Fear by Genjutsu. I run multiple ninjas with high mental power. Although this meta does have a lot of mental power ninjas, like, again, the typical Hanari, Hotaru, Karen, Sakura type of thing. If you hit this with like Kabuto or Shikamaru, you're almost guaranteed 2 battle wards. So this really helps. I like it because it's a removal, makes ninja standby. So it's just a powerful card, and it's 3 of anything. So I could pay with like my Naruto that I growthed or something like that, or pay with another off color set. I read 1 Earth Style Mudfall. I like this card a lot. I'd probably try to fit it in. Maybe if like Mind Transfer gets limited to 1, or even less, or banned for whatever reason. But requirements is Earth or Anbu. Target 1 ninja or 2 standby ninjas. Target becomes a standby ninja, then place a sticky coin on it. Ninja with 1 or more sticky coins cannot be in the same team with ninjas without sticky coins. So basically, they're going to be by themselves, and they can't be partnered up. So it's a very good target card when you're opposing. So it's nice. It worked. It was another nice standby push card. 1 Mind Transfer. I felt like Mind Transfer was very overwhelming. I talked to Peter, who traveled from New York. He also ran a Revitalize deck. He said Mind Transfer was like one of his best jutsus, and definitely not gonna disagree with him. I just never had luck with Mind Transfer in the past, or several times that I played with it before. So that's why I decided to narrow this down to only 1. And if I really didn't feel like playing Mind Transfer, I'd probably play another Jitsu and then maybe cut Ino for something else. But yeah, I mean, it's just so good to have. I mean, that's one of Earth's best Jitsus. I just can't ignore it. I just never have luck with it. But for some people, they might. Last, 2 Spontaneous. It's limited to 2. I suggested it to be limit 1, but it seemed like only 2 people were playing Revitalize, but I happened to use this. It's not really needed, but at the end, it's one of your main cards to win. If your opponent doesn't have like a negate or anything, then it just goes in. For those who don't know, Spontaneous Avenger's Wrath card. If you have 15 or less cards in your deck, you may pay 0 to play this card instead. It has Revitalize. Requirements Tree. So I can only use it with cards like Yamato and First Hokage. And then, target 1 ninja on the battlefield. This target becomes a standby. It cannot be sent onto battle during this turn. Then, if you have 10 or less cards in your deck, move this Jutsu back to your hand. So basically, you just Spontaneous Tree over and over again until their whole board is standby. They cannot go out to battle, and then you swing out again for victory. It's basically, when I play this card, people will scoop because you can't come back from this. The only thing is if they comp strength or negate like your users, like Yamato or First Hokage, then obviously you're stuck for another couple turns, or you got to try to find an alternative win condition. Maybe again that interrogation jutsu, or maybe First Hokage to stall a little bit more, just to get your jutsus back and draw into them. But yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why I played this card here is to wipe out the chakra. So if I'm able to generate enough chakra, which I do generate probably about, I don't know, on average like 5 to 10 jutsus a game, or chakra a game. If I'm able to deplete my chakra and then have my opponent deplete chakra, they can't play any jutsus theoretically. Let's say I have any jutsus that they could play for free. So I play Sasuke, wipe out the chakra, and then Spontaneous Tree Summoning. They can't chain to it. Not really chain, but they can't play any cards because they got no chakra. So that's another reason why I play Sasuke as a tech. Yeah, that's my main board. Let's go ahead with my... we'll go with extra deck. I never really went into these cards, but they're just there to kind of look pretty and stuff, except for this guy kind of beat up. I think I actually went into Heretical Icon. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Maybe Matt could clarify. I'm not sure if I stole his Devapath, or I mean not Devapath, Narakapath or not, but I'm not sure. Anyways, yeah, females. I think I went into this once and wasn't really that impactful, but I probably would have made a better extra deck. Sideboard, I'll explain my choices and tell you why I was a little rushed. Hina's is good overall for a sideboard. I think everybody should include at least 2 of her. If you guys don't know what to put in there, Hina's always great. Because you never know who will run like mill decks, even though my deck counters mill. Permanent missions, there's a lot of decks out there that people want to experiment with, so that's really good. Deidara, this is basically a tech card against decks that like to use a lot of Jutsus. Players cannot play more than one Jutsu card during the exchange of Jutsu. So if I have this out, someone's going to attack me and I play Spontaneous, I can't really play anymore. So that ninja's pretty much gone. But it was a bad call. This one, it's more like cheesy, but it really wasn't helpful. Wahari, whatever. He's one of the new cards. Basically, this card says cards in your shock area cannot be affected by the effects of your opponent's ninjas or missions. So against like no hand, cards that like to delete your chakra, it's pretty much there. Team 1984, that's kind of a troll card. I used it against Ruben, mostly because I wanted him to shake my hand, but he said no. It's a counter card. This card was made by Jared's team, by the way. Again, Jared won first. Him, Cody, and Ethan created a card when they won the 3vs3 event, I think, at the beginning of the year. And they called it Team 1984. That's their team name. One of the Cody's deck profile is in my channel. You're gonna have to scroll through. But basically, it's a counter mission. Draw 2 cards, and both players can shake hands. In that case, both players draw 2 cards. So I played this on Ruben. I was like, hey man, I know you don't like cards in your hand because you're playing no hand water. So I played the mission. Shake my hands. He said no, and it was just like a good old laugh, basically. So it was just there to kind of troll, and I ended up playing against Ruben and doing really good against him. Kagiri, he was good. I keep him in the sideboard. During your mission phase, you can select one of your opponent's ninjas or clients. In that case, the effect text of your selected ninja or clients are negated during this turn. You need a way to negate client effects. We don't run Moroku in here, and we don't run what's it called? I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, if you're not running like mission hate, like oh gosh, what is that? The mission that also kills clients. Kagiri is a good option just to shut off the effects. It doesn't kill it, but you could shut off the effects. Shino, silence. Your opponent cannot search for any cards. I sided this card against stuff like puppets, true allies. Nobody really ran true allies. Anybody that really searched a lot, and I think I did it in Uchiha's also because they also could search. So it was a good stall card. It definitely was helpful. And then I added another Shino for Revitalize. The one mistake that I didn't include was obviously having an Ino Playful. I always have Ino Playful in my sideboard, and that's something that shuts off all the put and play cards. Those decks that like to put and play ninjas for free or whatever, or do some shenanigans. I'm very familiar with stuff like that because I ran Shimon Control and Shimon Says decks. So if I had to rebuild my sideboard, or actually thought about it, I probably would have put Eno Playful in it, because that would have helped against puppets. That would have helped against Jared's Flashpoint decks, or like even like a Shimon, because I think Zeke used Eno, and he pretty much prevented. Or no, it was Matt. Matt used a really good Void mission where you can only put in ninjas if you sacrifice. So he played that mission after he flashpointed like 4 of his ninjas, and then they couldn't come in because they couldn't sacrifice. So that was amazing. But also, yeah, like Shimon, stuff like that is something that I surprisingly didn't include in my sideboard, and that was definitely one of the cards that could have helped me overall. As for the other sideboard cards, I'm not sure what else. I'd probably just maybe add another Shimon or a Shino for no search. But yeah, that's my deck. Hope you guys liked it. It was something that I felt very comfortable running, and I felt like if I had that Playful, especially me being able to search her out with this deck, I could have had a good chance of pulling through. But Jared's a great competitor. He's played a lot since I think the beginning of the game, and he came from Kansas City, representing. He won $500 and a freaking PS4 with like 8 games. If you guys missed this event, I don't know, man. Like we gave some broken ass prizing in this event, and it was just insane. I got $250 in cash, and also a box of Kage Summit, and I said actually I did pull. Actually, I did open up the packs from Kage Summit. Let me see if I have my cards with me. So I ended up pulling 2 Genjutsus. Then what else? Trying to check over here. Leaf Council. And I got a Hokage also. I think it was a 3rd Hokage. There you go. 3rd Hokage. And then I think I got also 2 Sabirus and stuff, but these are my 4 super rares that I got out of the Kage Summit. So I mean, obviously all great cards, all rare cards to get. But yeah, and then 3rd place got I think $60, and then a box of Kage Summit or Sage's Legacy, something like that. Same thing with 4th, $60 and whatever. So it was a great event. If you guys missed this event, I definitely encourage you guys to come out to the next large event. This is pretty much our Gen Con tournament. It was our 1K event. We might run another 1K maybe 6 months from now. Who knows? But we're planning on doing other tournaments in the future. I know New York. There's a lot of New York players, especially Peter and Adam that traveled from New York. Shout outs to them. They actually, I think they took the plane or they flew. They either flew here or drove here from New York, and there's definitely a lot of players down there in the East Coast. And then we might want to travel around the Midwest, either in Minnesota, Ohio, Michigan. I know there's definitely players there too. But yeah, hopefully this inspires a lot of you guys to start up your own tournaments. I know it's not easy, especially for a dead card game, but if you guys got like 4, 6, 8 players who like just love Naruto, grab a couple starter decks online. You can find them on eBay. Grab the latest ones from like Heroes Ascension, Pain decks, Naruto decks, and just kind of play for fun. And then if you guys ever need like extra cards, I'm sure like the Naruto CCG forum could just donate a whole bunch of cards if you guys are looking for it. I got a whole bunch of other cards. So if you guys are looking for stuff, just message the Naruto CCG forums Facebook page, and people will be more than happy to help you out, start out the game, or even ask around if anybody lives around the area to help start up locals and stuff. Even if it's once a month, I think that's what we're going to start doing now. Is that we're going to do once a month events for our larger tournaments. So either if they're box tournaments or for their store credit prizing, if you got a local store that's willing to host, a once a month tournament. I don't think it'd be a bad thing on their idea, on their hand. So, thank you guys for all your support throughout all the years. We'll still be playing Naruto. Shoutouts to David Alebron, who's pulled so many strings just to make this event happen in terms of like prizing. So he's definitely well worth it. Please give him a round of applause because he definitely deserves a lot for what he put into the community, all the promoting and all the money and whatnot, and all the booster boxes and stuff. So thank you to them. Thank you to Crux Cards, who sponsored a lot of our